Hello GoFlight members, and welcome to the second installment of the setup videos. Now, you've already programmed, well, I shouldn't say programmed, but you're already plugged in, and your GoFlight config has recognized all your modules. Now what? You got to program the PMDG aircraft, and now how you do it. Now, what do you do and how do you do it? So, GoFlight interface tool. First thing you need to do is fire up your flight sim. Get that going. Make sure, after you do that, make sure you pause the sim, and then you want to go ahead and start the GoFlight interface tool. Then go to your desktop, and that's where I'm at. And you're going to see these lights. Green, green, green. Now you might see like maybe a red or a yellow. Perfectly normal. Sim Connect sometimes goes yellow on me, and that's normal. Okay, but you can see what we've got here. GoFlight, you can see what it has recognized. I've got one MCP, I've got one EFIS, 166 panels. I've got 3 of those. P8s are 2. Now these little things are GoFlight modules. It's what their lingo is, what they call their panels. And this word modules, they call modules, like I said. And if you look up here, you'll see that as well. And at first, this looks really intimidating, because you go, what the heck is all this? LGT, 460, 46R, T6, TQ6, all those things. Well, these are the modules installed. That's all this is. So don't be concerned with that. Just know that that's a good thing. Anything that's blacked out or blanked out, that means you don't have the panel. Okay, I want to go to one of the panels here, and you can see it right here, and it's the T8, and we're going to do the T8 first, and I'm going to click the T8 button here, or the T8 tab, and you're going to see a couple of things. Device 0 enabled 8. Now I'm just going to do a pull down. I recommend doing this on their desktop and not on the actual sim, because it won't show everything. So if you're wondering why that's happening, make sure you do this in your desktop. There's 2 T8 panels, 0 and 1, excuse me, and we're going to work on 0. Now, if you need to identify what panel's what, just click the identify button, and every single light will light up. And I'll do that again. You can see these 2 lights are blank, now they're on, because this is the panel I'm working with. And these are straight up rocker arm switches, off and ons. Okay, now, Boeing is different. Off is up, on is down, always. Okay, what we're going to do is work on these switches. Now, to program these switches, it's actually pretty easy. It is a learning curve, but once you understand it, you start going really fast. So there's 3 position switches. There are 2 position switches, and you've got to tell. Unfortunately, in this particular panel, there is no 3 position. It's just off or on, right? So we're going to have to, sometimes we have to bypass that middle switch position and go straight down. Now, we're going to do something easy first, and that's just a straight up fuel panel control. And I've got that right here. This is my fuel panel control at 1, 2, 3, 4. The center tanks I will do manually, only because I rarely put fuel in the center tank. I'm not flying 6.5 hours normally. In a 737, you normally don't. So at least the VA I fly for, maybe 2-3 hours tops, 4 hours max. But then I could just go up there and manually throw it. It's up to you. I don't want to do that just because it's easier for me. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on this button right here. See the switch? You got to make sure it's highlighted blue. I'm working with this switch right here. Okay, now in this switch, I'm going to go to the aircraft and show you what I'm looking at. Now, what we're looking at here is the actual fuel panel. I'm looking at this one right here, this low pressure light. That's what we're looking at. Right now it's off. It's got a low pressure light on. So that's where you know where we're coming from. We're looking right there. Okay, so how do we program this puppy? What we're going to do is, remember, highlight the switch, working on the right side only. Now, It's called switch event. You have switch action, you have light data, and light action. Now, switch event, it's simple. Hold, off, or on. In this particular case, on. So when we flip the switch down, we want it on. Okay? Now, everything we program here on the overhead panel starts with event. So EVT, OH, which is overhead, fuel, which we're working on, the fuel, and a fuel pump. Which one is it? Well, it's number 2 aft. Now, to verify the number 2 aft, which we just did, that's the event. Now, we've got to tell it which way is what. So that's what we've coded. We've coded, okay, that's when one switch is going to be our fuel pump number 2 aft, okay? Now, here's another caveat to this. All of GoFlight panels are the opposite, which means that up to them is on, down to them is off, just like a Cessna. Up is on, I think. Gosh, it's been a while since I've flown one. I don't know, you probably know better than I do, but it's reversed. So what's the switch action? It says it right there. You'd scroll down, on, off, reversed, which means up is off, down is on. Now, that is now programmed, that one switch, but I'm going to take it a step further, and I want that switch to activate. There's light, there's a little LED light above that. You probably see that right there. I want this one switch to activate with that light to be on when the fuel pump is off. So what I'm going to do is code the light, and I'm going to call that, you can see over here, this is coded as data. It's all light data, right? So you're going to scroll down to data, and it's called data forward overhead fuel light low pressure aft right, and I want it on. So that you could see it says off, less than, greater than. I'm going to put on. Light value equals 1, which means the light will go on when it's off. Now, I'm going to go into the cockpit and show you this in action. And that's all you do for this. Okay, here we are in the cockpit. We just programmed this switch over here. You can see that, the right fuel switch. I'm going to go ahead and throw that pump on. That's the aft pump. I'm just going to flip it down. And you can see what it just happened. The low pressure light is off. Take a look at my panel. It's off. If I want to flip the pump off, I just flip the pump off. There goes the low pressure light, and low pressure light is on the panel. That is a successful program. Now, those are easy because those are on or off. You do that through the whole section, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I've done here. 4 panels, or 4 switches in this particular case. Now, it gets a little harder. And it gets harder when we're doing a 3-position switch. And one of those things right here is this gen bus. That gets a little difficult because there's a 3-position switch. And we'll talk about that next. So hopefully you understand how to program the on and off low pressure lights. The on and off switch plus the lights. And now we're going to go into a 3-position switch and what happens with that. Okay, we've done a successful program on all 4 of those switches. You can see, I'm just going to scroll over. That's number 2, fuel pump forward, on, off, reverse, data, forward, overhead, fuel light, low pressure light, on, 1. Same thing here, same thing here, same thing here. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what happens? We've got a 3-position switch we've got to worry about. Now, on the other side of the panel right over here is I'm going to do that generator. Now I'll show you how to do that. Switch event is on, and then what are we calling it? We're going to call it event overhead electrical generator 1 switch. It's that simple. Well, now this is a different action, okay? Switch action, mouse right with off. Okay? When I do a right click on the aircraft, and I'll show you what happens when you click right, you throw it off. Okay, so if you click the mouse to the right, it goes off. Click it to the left, it comes on. And what the light data says, data, forward, overhead, electrical light, generator bus, off, left. I want the light on when the bus is off. Okay, light value is 1. And if you look on the panel, and if you can see this light, I've got it on because the generator's off. Now I'm going to show you, again, highlight the switch, and I'm going to show you what this looks like in the cockpit. Okay, so we're here, and we're figuring out, okay, this is that 3-position switch. As you can see, if I right-click, it goes off. If I left-click, it goes on. Now, I'm not going to click anything with the mouse, and I'm going to go to the panel. Take a look at the panel, okay? I've got it off right now, so it's up. What happens if I throw it down? Now, what happens if I push it up? See? Now, when I push it up, it means it's centered. So, the next, think about it, the next position I need on, I just flip it down. Now, when I want to throw the bus off, flip it up. Now, notice the light. Notice the gen off bus light I've got on right here. Doesn't matter what time, what position I throw the switch, right? Why is that light still on? And you're right, because the engine's not on. If the engine was running, I can throw Gen 1 on, that light will go off. And that, to me, I know I've got generator online right now. Okay? Which is really nice. I've done the same thing with the APU as well. Take a look at the APU. Down is on, up is off. That's how you program a 3-position switch. Now, it gets a little more difficult with the landing lights. And that's one of those things that you've got to talk about a little bit. Same with the fasten seatbelts, and that's more of a push button. I recommend if you really want to program the entire overhead, get a lot of T8 panels. More than any other panel you need is T8s. Maybe you could do away with. I think maybe you could get away with maybe one GF48. Or an RP48, those are rotary dials. Maybe you could get away with one of those because you have your rotaries here plus your push buttons on the bottom. But a lot more switches than anything, especially in the 737. So that's how you successfully program both off-on switch and a 3-position switch. And the next segment, the next video, we're going to talk about landing lights and how to get those puppies programmed. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, comments welcome. Till next time, throttle on.